Hello, good greetings to all of you, our viewers all over the world. We are here again today, Sunday, as we always do. Anytime we have a chance and we have space, we come over online to discuss issues, burning issues that are very, very, very crucial, to our survival as a people, our health, our country, and the trajectory that our politics is going on, and all the social issues in our country. And it is important for diaspora to link up, with the happenings, in the country, and this is important. And today also, that's why we are here. We don't have a specific day to come, but anytime we are free, we come online and discuss things that are of importance to our life generally. And here we are today also on Sunday, on the 8th of January 2023. And I will say Happy New Year to all of you, our viewers all over the world. Yeah, we are here again, once again, as I said, with our brother Sulayman Ben Suwareh, who is not a stranger on this platform, and our energetic brother, who is always fighting, for justice, for progress, and against corruption and anything that is going against our country perpetrated by men, either oppositions or anywhere, anybody in that country. So, greetings, Brother Ben, and welcome to Dialogue with the Youth, so on Gunjur Online.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim. Thank you for having me back, and I'm happy to be back. It's always a pleasure to grace this platform, Gunjo Online. Thank you. I'm looking forward to a great conversation, and I'm extending my greetings to all the audience out there and saying a happy new year to all of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. It's our pleasure. We are very, very grateful to always have you. And anytime we knock on your door, you are always available at even short notice. And once again, our viewers, you can share the program, because what we are going to discuss, so that it can have a far-ranging, reach to our people all over the place. And the whole purpose is, not to, disagree with anybody's ideas or whatever, but just to come and discuss issues so that we can reflect and see the best way. There is always the best way that we can go, in terms of our lives, our country, our social life, our politics, anywhere, even at ground level of family. Ben, greetings. It's good to see you looking younger as ever. And I think the holidays they contributed a lot to that also, because you went and see the family. You went to many places, across Gambia and Senegal, Brother Ben, and it is pleasure to go on the ground and see it, for yourself, and some of the progress that is happening in those regions, especially Senegambia region, which affect any of those countries. Anything there affects all of us. So Brother Ben, we will give you chance after greetings our viewers all over the place, so that you can give us, your analysis of what you have seen, on your holidays, across Gambia and Senegal. What do you think are some of the strengths and some of the weaknesses that you've encountered firsthand, and some of the opportunities that our government, our politics, or our people as individuals are not tapping into, and of course the threat, for the Senegambia region, one way or the other, politically, socially, those are the things that we want to start with. And how was your holidays? And we can go into that, Brother Ben. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I absolutely had fun. I make sure I had fun, but it's quite a difficult thing to do when you are in the Gambia, when you are someone person of conscience. It's very difficult to have fun in the Gambia, and probably I'll get into that later. Um, I was a little bit more relaxed in Senegal, but again, and I'll have to say this: there's not much difference between the Gambia and Senegal. Yeah, Senegal's are way ahead, but they are facing very similar threats and problems that we are facing. Okay. My trip was a holiday, and I went with my son, who is about 22 years old, and it was kind of a giving him opportunity to because he's been to the Gambia many times, but this time as an adult, to prepare himself better, uh, to visit the Gambia and Senegal.
Wow.
to have the experience and to see the possibilities and the opportunities that are in both countries, in the region for that matter. But again, it was for him to appreciate the privileges he have here, to appreciate what and as am I talking about my son, I am talking about, I mean, all of us, our children, the opportunities they have here, to appreciate that and to understand the privileges they had here as well, and to make good use of it. It was like a journey, an educational journey for him. But again, it's me going to places I have been before and places I wanted to go. I've been to places I've not been before. I wanted to go, in fact, again, to make um, to re-educate myself, or even update myself for what is actually happening in this area, this region. And I'll say something here first. I used to, because I've not visited Gambia for over 7 years, and I've been to Gambia 5 times since I've been in the UK. That's about 27 years, 27 years in total, 28 years. But I used to have a feeling that at times I'm too harsh because I'm not on the ground. I've not been there for a while. But when I went there, I realized that in fact I have, or we have, underestimated the problems in that country. That's
Wow.
my feeling. We have been underestimating the problems in that country, and it varies, and it will help when you put. If you want to ask questions on different areas, I mean, I can. That will help me to guide to point to what I am talking about. But
Mhm.
again, this is Gambia. I went to Senegal, and something I suspected before. There's a lot of distortion about the development of Senegal. I'm not saying that they have not registered development. They have, but there's a lot of distortion. And one thing they have in difference with Gambia is they have a very proactive civil society, and they have a media, or they have active citizens that did not allow the corrupt media to control a narrative. And they have a very vibrant opposition. These are things that we completely have indifference. They haven't developed, I mean, infrastructure development, but some of those infrastructure development, in fact, they are not paying dividends. They are
Mhm.
mispriorities, especially in Dakar. But they have, I mean, projects almost everywhere, I mean, that have impacted that country because of the amount of corruption and mismanagement in that country as well. There is a lot of suffering, and the evidence of that is just as we see the amount of Gambian youths taking the back way is the same as amount of Senegal, or I mean, similarly to the amount of Senegalese youths taking the back way. But as I said, there is hope in Senegal. There's hope in Senegal because there's a vibrant opposition, there's a very active civil society, there's very active citizenry, which I would call an intelligentsia, which are very informed, which are out there, I mean, non-partisan, holding both the opposition and the government accountable, and to make sure things are done so far. I mean, and with the weaknesses of the government, the corruption, and everything else too, they still have a better civil service. They have a still have a they have still have I mean, a better. They have better institutions,
Mhm.
which is under threat anyway, because we have seen the purging of the security sector and so on. And that's why I said, coming back to Gambia, I cannot look at one. I have not seen one area I can say that is developing in the Gambia, or at least there's an improvement in that area. Almost every aspect of governance, or development is just gone backwards, and the suffering, the indignity in people. I mean, it's just um, sad. I mean, that's why I said being in Gambia, in fact, is difficult if you have consent to I mean, to enjoy yourself. The places that you go to enjoy yourself are full of beggars, and these are your boys.
Mhm.
These are not even foreigners. I mean,
Mhm.
it's full of young people being exploited. And I said young people deliberately. It's not only women being exploited. I'll tell you, because I have been around for a while. I can tell you that I can see and understand when certain things are going around me. I mean, young boys are exploited, women are exploited. I mean, older people are exploited. It's like exploitation everywhere. And I mean, generally, which is very sad to say, we are lacking more dignity than ever. Begging is just
Mm.
a culture now, and telling stories that are not true in order, I mean, to get something out of people, to thinking that they deceive you, or they manipulate you. And this is within your family and your extended family, your circles of friends, people you interact with. The country lacks a structure. The country lacks a system. The country, lacks procedures. Everything is transaction. It's a transaction of its own. I mean, you will not know where to put your foot. I mean, it's just completely, completely in a bad state. And I have, what I did is I have a lot of recorded a lot of footage, which I would, edit to, to make it viewable, because it was not done by a professional photographer, and so that we can share and have a conversation around this. But as I said, I will give it back to you, to, bring up questions in areas that you want to ask. But I can tell you, from the airport to coming, from going to coming back, it's just crazy. The two things I have to say positively, though, the two things I have to say is positively, the democratization, the freedom of speech that we fought for, which we have seen evidence of this government trying to stifle. That's why I have to tell Gambians to really, really be careful where we are going to go with this government. And I'll come to that. I have listened to a lot of FM radios, and I was amazed, and actually very happy that I hear people voicing out, and they were not holding back. They were calling the president by name. They were not insulting. They were calling the president by name. They are calling institutions by name. They are complaining about issues, that this thing, and I've had them in different languages. I had them in different regions. Different radio FM stations are almost everywhere. And people are speaking out openly. I mean, all this is what we fought for, and that's what is expected. But we have seen that this government is trying to silence that voice of dissent. We have seen that in many ways. It's important for us to think about this. Where a government have lost legitimacy due to what they have, we all, and I keep on saying this, I keep on banging it, and if anyone challenges me, we can go on a platform and we debate it. The election was completely stolen, and everybody knows it now, unless you just don't want to see it, or you don't want to know it. Now the government, in fact, they themselves are feeling this lack of legitimacy. They feeling this lack of support from the people. You see, when the government is popular, just like, in the UK, everywhere, they do opinion polling. And when they do their opinion polling, you see how it reflects on how they deliver, or how they move around. But Gambia, we don't have those opinion polling, but they know. Not approaching to the elections, not after the elections, not even celebrating the victory. Everything was damp, and still now it's affecting them. But not only that, the amount of corruption in that country, the lack of delivery, the cost of living, everything else is putting the government under so much pressure that they are scared. And if a government is really scared, two things they can do is to resign, or they'll push back, or they'll three things actually, or they'll find the problems and try to resolve it. Or it's unfortunate they are not trying to look for this satire problems to they have no measures out there, no initiative out there to try to resolve this problem. In fact, it's like everybody is doing as much as possible, as thinking that things are going to stop soon, or things are going to go south. Let me get as much as I can. Wherever you are, everybody is trying to get what they can get from there. There's no intention of these people resigning, because they don't have that honor, they don't have the conscience, they don't have the integrity to do that. One thing they have is to use the security sector again to repress the people. They know that dissent is going to happen. And the evidence of this is when the 11 November advocated for coming out and everything else, we all had their operational plan, how much they were
mm,
ready, the entire force, I mean, security sector, how much they wanted to invest on it to silence this dissent. And when Modu Sabali was arrested, and there's a group that started to voice out a demonstration. We heard about the emergencies situation they were trying to create by, I mean, thinking of repressions. This is that's a sad part of it. The other sad part is, which is, again, I know when I left here, I mean, my friends, people that I normally interact with, I told them that I was going. And I can tell you, Ibrahim, almost every one of them were apprehensive, scared
mm,
something was going to happen to me. It's sad that I understand why.
mm,
And that
mm,
tells you this environment we live in. But to be quite honest, I mean, I have never encountered a single form of, I mean, obviously, but one thing I know is very selective. I mean, the way I carry myself and everything else, I've never been challenged for anything, or anybody approach me, I mean, disrespectfully, or for anything else because of who I am or what I do or anything. No, it have not happened on the ground. In fact, it's matter of respect. Even people that don't agree with me, it's matter of, the Gambian thing of meeting each other, greetings, and and so on. And they show you the welcoming face of, oh, we are happy to see you, or oh, we are happy finally to see you in person and stuff like that. But the sad part is, I have seen, because of, again, I am not condoning it. I'm not
mhm,
condoning corruption, but I am explaining the reasons behind this.
mhm,
Almost
mhm.
every police checkpoint or every security checkpoint is a begging station.
Wow.
And Ibrahim, and that is sad. And not only begging station. Almost every transaction you have with public officers, there's a lingo, there's a way, language, either a body language, or a face of sadness. People would reduce themselves,
Mm,
in expectation. And I can qualify this because I have observed when they deal with local people. I don't want to use the word local people. When they deal with people who live in the Gambia, people that they can recognize or people they know, I have seen them the way they deal with them. Or if they deal with public officers or senior officers, civil servants,
mhm.
I have seen the way they deal with them. You see, like they come to traffic, they see you with a very beautiful car, wearing a suit or wearing a smart shirt, and your lenses and things like that. They assume that you are senior civil servant, or business person, or from the diaspora or something. They accord you with certain form of respect. But
Mm,
the taxi driver, the local guy that is driving or bunk up vehicle and stuff like that is an extortion. For the people they perceive to be well off, it's like begging bowl. They extend the begging
mm,
bowl. And the people they see as weak, they pounce on them. You
yeah.
see? And that's very sad. And I understand, I'm not qualifying it, that is right. I understand the situation. Because the
Mhm,
cost of living, Ibrahim, I cannot just comprehend how people can survive. And I know as a father, a provider, or a mother, a provider, it's harsh. And
I think.
this might be what is forcing these people, I mean, to behave in this manner. But I have seen service people, working in very harsh conditions without, the right equipments, the environments, and everything else is very harsh. The dust and
Mm,
everything else, they are out there 24/7. Every time I go out to certain areas, I see them. Yes, you don't see them of the traffic ends and so on. Yeah, inside towns and stuff like that. But main roads, you see them, and they are walking off. You go to the stations, they're walking off. I've been many places, they're walking off, and I have experience again with teachers, and it's interesting. That's the teacher strikes is happening, and I support the
Mm.
teachers. I mean, as I said, I have this. I've recorded stuff that we will share, and we can discuss those. This, but let me just give you an example. I
Yeah,
went to
go ahead.
I went to Bondali Tenda. This is in the Fonyi district. Um,
Yeah.
I visited Bondali Tenda and I found a second primary school there. And I need to verify this, but I think what I was told, a citizen of that Bondali had a friend, a European, who donated or built classrooms. I mean, as a school, and obviously the government took it over to support. And I went to the school, and I met teachers. Ibrahim, I think overwhelmingly the school is serving about three catchment areas, small villages around
Mm.
there. Bondali
Mhm.
Santamba, Bondali Tenda, and another. There's a small Jola village in the corner around there. That's that catchment area. Now the children of that area, they don't have to walk the 2.5 kilometers to go to school, primary school at
Yeah.
the side, which is very good. But apart from the classroom, the school didn't have any resources. It's as what the European put there. That's
Yeah.
what is there. And everything else is what the government pays salaries for these teachers and stuff like that. They lack basics. They lack the basics. Let's just say interesting, which is very good too. The school have a nursery school. It's a primary and a nursery. But just to give you an example, in the nursery, they just use adult chairs and tables. The children have to stand in order to, imagine a
Uh,
3-year-old standing on a, I mean, to write on a desk. I mean,
yeah.
stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I mean, on the other class, I mean, there's no furniture, there's no school materials, and even the blackboards are not. I mean, literally, there's nothing there. But not
Mm.
only that, I met mainly female teachers. I've met there. I met about four of them, the senior teachers and stuff like that, and they all came from far off different, I mean, places.
Yeah.
And technically, they are sharing. They converted one of the classrooms,
Yeah.
and that's what they, two of the classrooms. That's what they're sharing as their living quarters. And these people are sacrificing. They
Mhm.
are sacrificing. I did not ask for their salaries, but I know what the salaries are. I know the pay scales. I mean, how much, I mean, for those people to stay there, and some of them, they might be married, or they might have kids, or if not, they are
Mhm.
at the age, they should be married, they should be, I mean, doing other social stuff. But they went and live in a village that have technically nothing. And they
Nothing. Yeah. Mm.
sacrificing to teach other people's children, but they are not provided with nothing. You see, that's why when we advocate against corruption and misspending priorities and stuff like that, this is where we want the money to go. Because if these children fails, and they are going to fail, it's not that we prayed for, but without the
Mm.
resources, without the motivation for teachers, I mean, how many of them would be lucky I mean, to come out, I mean, with good grades to go to secondary
No.
school? You
No.
see,
No.
and that's just one sample. But again, I've been to Bakau Primary School. I visited my previous, I mean, my previous primary school, and that's a different, kind of a little bit of different story, because there's an ongoing project. I mean, the Bakau School
Mm.
development project, this ongoing project that the Bakau School ex people are doing, and it
Yeah.
have made a tremendous difference. I have done this. I've suggested this sort of projects for Bondali, and I'll be working with the Alcalo to try to see how that can be realized. But
Mhm.
I mean, in a nutshell, I mean, that's my experience. But as I said, I'll leave it to you to open up areas that you want us to discuss.
Thank you, Ben, and greetings to our listeners all over the world. Baro Ture Saho, say Happy New Year. The same thing to you. And we have Mohammed Fai, who is greeting to his uncle, Uncle Ben Suwareh, and all the others who are watching and who will watch this program. Once again, we are with Ben Suwareh. He had a trip in the Gambia, a very, very wonderful holiday to go and see families. He went there, and see the things firsthand, and analyze them. We want to have a quick tour de force into his trip, what his experiences firsthand in the Gambia. But if you disagree, and you think, he's been negative, just put your comments there and tell us some of the development, some of the progress that you think are happening in the Gambia. Because it's all about, encouraging each other so that that small country, that small piece of land can develop so that we can go forward as a people. There is a lot of negatives. There is a lot of, if you want minuses, those are not positives. In the country, what we all want, we can do a little bit more than this. Ben, and
Ibrahim, before going there, something I just missed is I know people might reference because I've seen the NPP camp blowing this OIC. I mean, should not be called OIC anymore, but this which was supposed to be OIC projects, the road and stuff like that. It's under construction, but we have already registered failure because it has not been delivered when it was expected. But it's in progress. It's not, but again, tells you the way. I mean, I've not found any Gambian that is happy the way it's been delivered. And if you come to the main project, the airport road, the Batty Harden, these things, the section been dealt with, the traffic, they have not built up alternative routes and stuff like that. It's completely chaos, dust, and everything else. And the job, I don't think it's gonna even finish before the rainy season again, and it's gonna be another nightmare. But again, the other areas in the Carnifin area and others too, there's a lot of uproar. The demolition have been done without the proper consultation, without the compensations, without and not handled well. And again, what they find out at they starting one road, stop it, going another and stop it. It's causing a lot of confusion within the Carnifin environments. I mean, again, it's a poor delivery of services. I mean, if those roads are actualized and ready and done well as expected, it's going to make a difference. It's going to make a difference. But again, those roads only would not make a difference. There's so much orders that could be done. I have visited the conference center. Again, I have got a video on that. Again, it's a shame. It's technically just sitting down. Apart, I mean, they're struggling to find and to maintain it. And any Tom Dick and Harry can go and hire it for anything just to do. I mean, it's not that it's a beautiful build this thing or what, but still now they have not even done the groundworks. The fencing is still not been fenced, and the what do you call it? The garden is not been done. It's just sad that it seems not to able to do anything properly. Not to able to do anything properly. And if you come to tourism, the time I was there, it was December. And I'll tell you, until I left, most of the hotels were not busy. And I have seen hotels, restaurants actually close, not actually functional, or you can see the struggle that some of these hotels were not even maintained during the dry season, because that's what used to happen during the dry season. They repaint, decorate, and ready for this thing. They are struggling. Tourism is technically dead. I've gone to different beaches. I've gone to different hotels. I've seen the nightlife. Apart from sex tourism, technically there's not. And the latter part, before I left, they started to see the diaspora effect. A lot of Gambian diaspora families coming down and so on. And I know that that's going to make a difference in the month. I mean, the 4 weeks, last 2 weeks of the December, and probably the first 2 weeks of January. But I mean, you talk to restaurants, they will tell you the same thing. Talk to hoteliers, they will tell you the same thing. There are so many apartments, oversupply of apartments. I mean, you see, that's the thing about Gambia. It's everything is, I mean, and there are more apartments coming up, and probably they will do well in this time of the year. But I don't see it sustainable as well. Yeah, that's the bit I left. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fine, Ben. I'm going to go and ask you. I was going to ask you about the OIC and the tourism since we are in the season, but it's good you dilated on this. But Ben, it seems there's a paralysis in the government, and everything is at standstill. With all this gloomy forecast or the gloomy analysis, that we know is there because the health system is collapsed. Also your education system is not going. It's also collapsed. The results, the failure, the lack of resources in the institutions. But do you see any movement, from the government in terms of having the urge, to address some of these things because the cost of living is out of control, inflation. It seems there is no head in the country because we don't see the movement of the head. Do you see on the ground? Maybe we are far away. Do you see
No,
on the ground that at least the government are feeling the pinch that the ordinary people are having, and at least come have a kind of a plan to come and address these situations, Ben? Because if not, what we are, because we are kind
if
of doing the
Ibrahim,
SWOT analysis here, we are going
my
to come to the threat of not doing anything as a government for the country. Go ahead, Ben.
my experience is this, and I let me just explain this, and I understand why. If you check the first term of Barrow's governance, there used to be something called the National Development Plan. You see,
Mhm.
anything they articulate or anything they presented good that you assume to be good or logical, it's just a presentation for donor community for reaction to something. This is what I realize. Did you hear the government talk about that National Development Plan? Did they do an evaluation of progress or anything? Nothing. It was just for a donor conference. Now, if you don't have a plan, I mean, this is bound to happen. Another thing that's why I said there's no structure, there's no system, there's no procedure, there's no vision. And the other thing is, look at Barra's government. I mean, during the first time, what it was patchwork of people, opportunists coming together, because of one thing was enticing them. And this is, you can even see it from their supporters. Now you don't hear the diaspora supporters because of they know that they were supporting something that's not real, that's not true. And some of them were benefiting from that support. Now the money is not coming. Now on the ground, the supporters, you can hear them saying that, oh, they are not getting what they were used to, or I mean, that's what they're fighting against. They are not telling you that the government is not doing anything progressive. They'll tell you, oh, what they expected to gain from, they are not getting that. Now, everything about the government was bringing so-called political parties or people or influencers to support them. And one thing they had was a message of divide. And they measured it and used the UDP as the main opposition, and use tribalism, use anything to fear. And when you use these things to win an elections, and in fact still with all that, they have to steal these elections. Now, you have never worked on a plan. You have never had a structure or anything. Even for the so-called party, you see, and that's another evidence. Even the NPP could not even have a Congress. And we have seen the disarray at their Congress, the undemocratic. Yes, all political parties, I'm not impressed with none of them, with be the UDP or anything. I'm not impressed with their Congresses. But this one is worse, where we hear that the president have to ask, I mean, people to be removed from standing up to contest. But again, what this tells you that they don't have a plan or anything. Now they brought all this thing together, and now they struggle to fix. I mean, to compose a government. We all knew that normally government are composed just after the elections, but they waited till after the parliamentary, and then what patchwork we saw was an APRC government. Why an APRC government? Because it was the APRC mechanism and the same technocrats that helped him steal the election, the same way Gambia was stealing the elections. That's why the most very sensitive position, which is the Minister of Lucrative and Sensitive, which is the Minister of Local Government and Lands, was given to a unknown person, Abbas Sanyang, who was part of the mechanisms that Jammeh used. He was compensated for that position. And almost everybody else is APRC. The ones, Sabali, who was not APRC, GDC, was out there drumming up the tribal message. He got rewarded. The others who are not are what? They are relatives of Barrow, just like his niece, the Minister of John Manjang, Minister of
Oh, yeah.
Climate
Rohi
Change.
John Manjang, yes.
Yeah,
Rohi John
something
Manjang.
like that. This is what we have. And that goes to the present state, and that goes on to everything else. Now, what do you have? There's no a cohesive government. There's nothing. You have a bunch of opportunists being put together who are just addicted to looting and everything, and the president is not did not know. He realized that Gambians did not vote for him. It was his mechanism. It's a fraud. This thing that he invested a lot of money, and the people that gave the money have to be paid. And we heard, just as you said, the government is not doing anything. What they say they're doing, in fact, is creating more corruption. We had almost $100 million, 3 months of export cover, be given to business people, and the central bank governor said that he's not going to tell us who those business people are. We know who they are. They are the people linked to the president. And I am speculating here. Probably the nephew and the 2 nephews of the president, Amadou Sane and Jaga Sane, probably they benefited from this. We know that Wage did benefit from this. Who else? Because we have seen the president transform those 2 gentlemen, just like Pabojang did with Jammeh did with Pabojang. Yeah, within a short period, these boys become multimillionaires. They could not. They did not even have their own properties or anything before their uncle become president. The minute the uncle become president, they become multimillionaire. From where is Gambia coffers? Now, this is what is happening in the country. Anything they talk about, it might look nice, the policy might sound right, but there's nothing like the implementation. An example of this is the groundnut trade. Did the president a few weeks ago talk about buying groundnuts for this price? They don't even see the people to buy the groundnuts. Most of the groundnuts are already sold in Senegal. I went to Fonyi. I cannot see a bag of groundnut. It's already gone across the border. You go to every kind of a major village or town, you see secos. I have not seen a seko in Bondali Tenda. I've not seen a seko in Bondali Kanaf. I've driven through Fonyi and many places. It's hard to see a bag of groundnut, peanuts. You see, whatever they talk about is about lies, propaganda. But there's nothing been delivered.
Yeah, the government, the president, who the box should stop with him, but before coming to you, I say, Lamin Toure is saying this is a fruitful conversation. And once again, we are pleading to viewers and those who are going to watch the program later, so that you can share these programs and we can reflect. If you have any question or if you disagree, please, say your thoughts here, and we will be able to discuss issues, so that we can reflect, because this is us together, as a country, how things are going. I think even Barrow himself knows things are not going, properly. Ben, the president is sitting down, and people around him are fabricating all these, tall tales, and he will take them and come and face the public, and sometimes read it from how it is written to him. That says a lot about the president, but there is many evidence that the president is in the middle of all these kabudos and these corruptions and all those things. And another thing is, when the governments fail and they don't have any roadmap, they don't have any plan to go to follow, they push back, and most of the time they do divide and rule, from tribes and all those things. Even though Gambia, we are all related one way or the other, but we tend to, forget about the maternal mortality rate, the young women that are dying, the young boys that are, dying in the sea, going through back way, and the myriad of the next generation, the many of them, thousands and thousands, that are going to fail because they will not have any education, no skill, no nothing. What is going to happen to them? We just forget about those, and we are talking about the Mandinka, the Fula, and all those things. But that is the deliberate tactics by the
Yeah.
government that fails. When they fail, they create such things, and we are fools in essence anyway, because sometimes even the educated fools will buy into this and trade on tribal lines, or trade on regional lines and all those things, when all these things are happening and they close their eye towards it. Ben, so because, saying that, because of all this failure, they pushing back. Here we see, like Sidi Sane says, a coup that wasn't, a coup d'etat that wasn't, and what we see now, the government came out and the 8 military personnel has been charged with treason, for the alleged involvement of the overthrow of President Barrow. But, first, because they came out with press conferences, press releases, and all those things. Anytime they came, people will hit them, because there's a lot of holes, that they cannot explain, and they will go back again and come back again with something, and people were asking, now charge them, charge them. Now they charge them. But, is it a coup that wasn't? And if it is yes for you, why do you doubt this in a way? Because, now the government came out and charged these people. Why are they sacrificing human beings, 8 people, and all those things?
Let me
If you
let me
doubt
come
it,
to
why? Go ahead. Go
let
ahead.
me come to the charges. Let me come to the charges first.
Go.
Let people, because people keep on saying, "Oh, it's presumption of innocent until proven guilty." But once someone is accused, the people mindset would start to judge the person as a guilty culprit, or he have done it. If not, he would not have. But these same people would forget that governments, I mean, I'm not saying this government, governments have in history always been abusing their own people and abusing their power, and especially this government. Remember, remember, 9 soldiers who were anti-Jola were arrested because they belonged to a WhatsApp group, and they were
Yeah.
charged, isn't it? They were court
Yeah.
martialed and found guilty. What happened when it went to a proper court? Why did I say
It was.
court martials are proper courts, but we know the deficiencies in the institution that's not fit for purpose cannot hold accountability. Now, when they sent him to proper court, what happened? The case was dismissed.
Yeah.
And I want Gambians to think about that again, and to assume that, or to give that presumption of innocence until proven guilty, the right meaning. That these charges, and I tell you, I'm going to publish an article tomorrow, inshallah,
Mm.
and I'm going to discuss. I'll discuss it tomorrow too. But let me just put it here. A very senior member of the security establishment. I'm using the word
Yeah.
establishment deliberately because I want to give him cover as much as possible, because he is at a very sensitive position, and obviously, and he is very worried about what he have find out. He said to me that he have not, and he have spoken to some of the investigators, seen any evidence of a coup d'etat.
Mm.
And he said, and that's the reason why everything that this government, whenever they come out, I mean, they open up more questions than answering people's doubt. And still they cannot produce any evidence before the people. Even a convincing narrative, they cannot. Even a circumstantial evidence, they cannot. That's one. Two, he said to me, the reason these people are charged, I'm saying what he told me. I'm not taking credit
Yeah.
for this. He's giving me credit. He said that they're following, whenever they come out, you put holes and they're trying to cover those holes.
Mm.
And if you go and look at my articles, the way it follows them,
Yeah.
putting holes, and whenever I put the hole, they come and try to cover up that hole. Well, some of us do, they try to cover it up. He said two things. One, he said, look at the charges. He said, if they had evidence, these people would have been charged for multiple counts,
Mm.
but they are not charged
Yeah.
for multiple counts. They are charged this conspiracy in order to justify keeping them longer, without being criticized by the international community, without being criticized by people like us on social media
Mm.
and others. This is the reason. Now, remember, they said that they have constituted a secret panel.
Yeah.
Now, why? Did they tell us that they discontinued secret panel or not? If you charge them, what's the
No,
point of secret panel?
the secret panel, yes.
Or is that secret panel going to continue to, in order to fish out more, because of they don't have the evidence, to try to look for
Mhm.
something to hold them on, so that they can bring up more charges? You see, the charging doesn't mean anything. This is what I come to understand from the senior person in the in the service, the security establishment. Now, I have not found any independent person, and even people who support the government. I have people I know that I
Yeah,
don't call them friends. I know who supports the government. They are not even convinced. The government, even they themselves, you see them, they are not convinced. Any government been wanting to be overthrown, and we have seen the way they try to get Modi Sabali in. You think Modi Sabali would have been released if Modi Sabali was not in the UDP, and the UDP youths have put pressure, and other people have go out there on social media and others and put pressure? You think he
no,
would have been released? No.
no,
The
no,
government have
definitely.
gone to great lengths to try to keep him in prison. They went to a judge. That judge took a ruling which is unconstitutional, wrong, to please the government. Then the government turned around and released him because of the fear that the youths might come out, and that's going to cause them a trouble. If the government was convinced of evidence, if why did they go for Modi Sabali? They have no evidence on Modi Sabali, and they have
Yeah,
no evidence on the others. Now, still the government have not, and this guy said, since the government have not established a solid link between the people arrested.
mm,
What this means is to say that Miss Ibrahima, Sulayman, Aishatu, Mariama, Ibu have been communicating last 3 months, 2 months, one
yeah.
month, constantly, and gradually you can see the conversation build up. They
The
have not got
pattern,
that.
yes.
If they had that evidence, they would have said that
Mm,
they had that evidence.
yeah,
These people have not have evidence that these people have been meeting in point A, B, C, D this many times or something like that. Some of them knew each other. Some of them might have called each other.
mhm.
But to say that the call have mounted to you something that you can put out there to as an evidence for conspiracy, they have not got that. They have not listened to these people conversation to know what they were talking about. Now everybody have a WhatsApp group.
Yeah,
Does that mean we are conspiring against government?
no,
And you see, that's how weak it is. And now, to give you another example, there's a Captain Balde been arrested.
yeah,
I was told that Captain Balde have make it known to them, and the person accused as the leader of the coup, is it Fadera?
yeah, Mr. Fadera,
That
yes.
Captain Balde said he last saw Fadera in August at the army headquarters. They saw each other. Probably they greet each other, but they have not communicated since.
Yeah,
But he's still arrested. And
yeah,
again, I don't know Balde, but I have heard about his background for people that know him. He's from a service background. His parents were service. His father was a service personnel. His father was an imam. They said this guy is a very pious person. He's very quiet. He's very sensitive, very smart. Apparently,
and intelligent, yeah. Mhm.
apparently he did one of the best students at the university at the time.
At
He
the
he gone
University of Gambia.
training in other countries. You think someone of that caliber would accept a lance corporal to inform him that he want to overthrow, and he will not do something about it? Or do you think that this
No,
person would join a lance corporal to say, let's go and overthrow? I don't know the lieutenant. The lieutenant, they said it's Lieutenant Coley or something. Would that lieutenant to
yeah,
agree or accept
Omar
a
Colley, yes.
lance corporal?
Omar Colley, yes. Mm,
Omar Colley? You think that
mm,
Lieutenant Omar Colley will agree a lance corporal to inform him that I'm going to overthrow and come and
no,
join me? You see the holes.
mm,
Now, another thing is, we all have this so-called operational plan. What they plan to do. If you understand operations, Ibrahim, in order to do an operation of multi dimensions, you mean different forces synchronizing, command and control, I mean, going into places, it needs logistics,
Yeah.
it needs communication, it needs practice. You have
Mhm.
rehearsal. Look, people before go to war, even they do rehearsals. We see them.
Yeah, they
I
do.
mean,
Yeah.
like England, they have like they do their assessments. What likely battles they're going to fight every year. They do exercise on those things in order
Mhm.
for when it happens, they will able to coordinate. You see, the failure of Russia in Ukraine is because of, you prepare for a
Nothing.
game plan, and and
Mhm.
and,
Mhm.
and your opponent came and play a different game. Now they are catching up. Now they started to use the drones because they just know the one system: put your tanks,
Mhm.
put your men, bombard, and move forward. But the Ukrainians, no, we use smaller forces. We are mobile. We strike here, strike there. I mean, go for your supply lines. I mean, intercept your communication. I mean, go for your command positions and get you out.
Mhm.
Now,
Mhm.
for anybody to want to do an operation that they say that these people planned, you need a battalion size. This is about 800 men, service personnel and more. And this would entail a colonel and other ranks or people that have the battle drill, understand battle drills to do these things. And you need to rehearse it.
Yeah.
And you need to communicate. Because you will not be, you will not move from, they said they're going to move from the uh, um, the naval base.
The
We
novel.
don't
Yeah.
have a
Yeah. That's
naval
amazing.
base. Let them stop distorting. We don't have a naval base. When they say naval base, people who doesn't know will think that we have a sophisticated. We have
A
WAF in
novel.
Jago. We have WAF in Jago, adopted for boats to anchor. That's all we have. The boats, most of them, most of the time, are not mounted properly. They are not mounted with heavy weapon, anything. How can you gonna start the operation from there?
No. No.
Now,
Not there. Not there.
now
Yeah.
you have to, when you have to do that, you have to attack State House, you have to attack Billy Bridge, you have to attack Bakau Depot, you have to attack Bakau. Even you have to attack all these places they said at the same time, and you have to coordinate. You see, this is, I mean, it's ridiculous to say that a Lance Corporal, if a Lance Corporal tells you that, then you know that something is wrong with them.
Mm.
It's not that they have the intention; they need the help of a doctor. They need the help of a doctor. No, you see, again, another point. Remember, they said that they are civilian supporters,
Supporters and outside the country, and yeah. Go ahead.
and inside they are the diaspora and financier and so on. Have they have you seen any substance? I don't want to use the word any person with substance. What I mean is
Mhm.
someone with influence, someone that
Mhm.
have to carry something that they have arrested. Why, if a government was actually a threat, you have that information, you have already started the arrest, and you said some of them are in the country,
And
but
you're
you have
not
not
arresting
arrested them.
anyone. Mm.
Do you know why?
Mhm.
I'll tell you. You know, they said the diaspora and the people in the diaspora too, you have not named them. You have not reported them to their consul, to respected embassies.
Mhm.
You have not done that. And these people were plotting. What coup did you, what plot did you fall? Because all these people are intact then. And out of that operation you talk about, you only managed to arrest about seven military men,
Yes, about seven of them. Seven of them
about
charged.
seven of
Yeah.
them. Then you went
Mm.
and arrest two brothers.
Yeah.
Now, Ibrahim, two brothers, civilians. I'm a friend. I'm your friend. I come to you and I meet you sitting. I'm not saying this is the way it happened. Let's say a
Yeah.
scenario of I came and meet you guys, and you know that I'm in the army. I'm a lance corporal, and I'm in fact
Mm.
part time in the army because most of the time I'm in the university. For
Mhm.
3 years, I've not been in the army technically. I just go and get my salary. I come and say that I'm going to overthrow the government and walk away and leave. Are you going to the authorities and report me?
Mm. No.
Did you believe that I'm going to do it?
No. 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 Definitely.
Yeah.
No. No.
Now you see how cheap it is because these people said that look, probably they don't even know. They deny the fact that they know what it means. That's a bad law, and dictators use those laws for a police state. In someone should be in have the capacity, in position to understand that this is real and is about to believe it and conceal it. Not want someone else to know. I can hear in it. How many people had there was a coup? Did they go to the police to report it?
No.
No. You see, that's why people have to be very careful, because the government said something, you said, oh, that's an evidence. It's not an evidence, it's a statement.
Yeah, but Ben, to your point also, because just Savali, brought up a video, an audio that
Yeah,
they assume, they think, is something. He says something to Topol Barrow,
yeah.
who is the opposition leader, a very very senior
Do
opposition.
you
All the
know?
opposition members, go ahead.
Do you know why the people in the diaspora are not being named or try to be arrested? Do you know why the people on the ground are not arrested? What the
Go
senior
ahead, Ben.
serviceman told me, he said, because of these people, I know the names and I know they are
Mm.
prominent people. He said that some of them in the this thing said, look, this if we arrest these people, it's gonna cause us more problem. Until we have evidence on them, let's not go for it. You see, they and this all of these people, if you know their names, they are all anti-government. And they are not anti-government for it's not people that you associate, some of them you might, but associate with subversive, the people I know. But no, these are government critics. They want to silence them. Some of these people belong to this opposition. Some of these people are financing the opposition. They want to silence them. This is the same thing they wanted to silence Sabali, and they went for Sabali because they had that thing in Sabali. They want, and I'll tell you, I am one of them. My Gambian number have been taken, and they've looked everywhere. Whether I know these people or I've been talking to these people. You see, they are fishing around. I mean, for this thing. Do you know what I believe? What might have happened?
Yeah.
You know, disgruntlement. Everybody, as I said, everywhere people are disgruntled.
Yeah.
You might find police officers, they might be chatting. Three police officers say that, nimbanko fam soldalo nyanta tale. Wala,
Yeah.
the soldiers will say the same thing. They might, I said might, they might hear a soldier said something and someone run with that, or soldiers sitting down saying something and someone run with that to say that I found the soldiers in a meeting and they said they were going to overthrow the government. And later they went and fabricated all this operational plan because they wanted this sort of information in order to turn it to an intelligence, in order to go to for their passive enemies, and they run with it. It's a defective information. The person that might have given the information might given an information based on his understanding. Probably he found three soldiers talking about coup d'etat, or we want to overthrow, or we should overthrow, or the system. That is disgruntlement. That does not constitute intent. It's the same thing when that WhatsApp group was arrested. What they did, you can charge them for insubordination, you can charge them for other things, but you cannot charge them for treason. Treason is a very expensive crime. We should make sure that people are charged according to their crime. The system should not be abused. The due process should be followed and investigation to be done. The charges should be brought by the following the rule of law. We don't say that, oh, this is what we wanted, it's happening. If these people, wrong people, are victimized, I'll tell you, the government gets away with it, they will continue doing it. That's why it's important to advocate for this. I can never believe that there's a coup because I've not seen any plausible narrative. I've not seen any circumstance evidence. I've not seen any material evidence until I see that. I hold on to this was fabricated, either based on a defected information, been someone using it to an intelligence, and the opportunists trying to use it what do you call it, to
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 establish
get
the
their
reality.
passive enemies, and
Enemies.
yeah, and
Yeah, but
yeah.
then before you go, and anyway, and to another level, greetings to Bobby Noel, Bless Buba, and Moro Kamara. They all watching, and many people are watching, and all over the world. Once again, we are with Brother Ben Suwareh, as we know, is one of our champions in terms of being fair. to say how it is and where it is. Anywhere. We focusing on the government because in the Gambia the opposition have no stake in the seats of the government in terms of managing the money and all those things. It is the government that the buck have to stop with them, and we have to analyze anything that they do. So when they come with things that are going to cause people's life, people's human rights, we need to analyze these things, critically, because any of us, because Jammeh started like this, is small, small, small until it become a full-blown dictator, where he went out of control. So nobody is immune here in terms of the failure of the government, the failure, the hardship in the country, because everybody is fine is finding it very, very difficult in that country, one way or the other, in the explosion, the bluesoning of people, seeking for medical help all over the place because the health is the dying, the sicknesses, and all those things. So at least we should have a government that comes in on, and at least we have a roadmap, a plan that at least they are paving a way in terms of to address some of those challenges, because it's not easy to run a country, to run a household, or moreover a country. Ben and the senior member of the security establishment says, this phony code plug is the making of none other than DG Saw of NIA. I listened to your radio program at Panderi, and Freedom Radio, and you have kind of, leaning towards the same arguments, and probably putting, bringing it Ibrahim Sangare. So these are some of the things, that we are dealing with as a country. So for that being the case, we need to address them, and we need to
Yeah,
discuss some of these things, in order to know where to go as a country, and some of these myriad, the cacophony of challenges that the country is having. We can be able to. Ben, what I was saying, the senior
yeah,
member
I can hear you.
of the security establishment, like in the open Gambia platform, he says this phony coup plot is the making of none other than DG Saw of NIA. But you seem to kind of lean to such arguments, and you drag Ibrahim Sangare into this. So we are going to analyze this, and see how it goes in terms of the role they play in this coup. And he went into say, sometimes they do this, just to establish their loyalty. That he's talking about.
Yeah,
So is
yeah,
reportedly to have been responsible for creating the Barrow Youth Movement and the First Lady Charity and all those things in order to create insecurity for the president. For the president become his modus operandi, setting him against critics and perceived enemy. And especially disgruntled soldiers. We know how our soldiers have been
yeah.
treated and all those. Nobody will be happy how the soldiers are being treated. Like the teachers that you enumerated in Fonyi, those
Mhm,
teachers are not going to be happy how they are being treated in that place.
mhm, mhm.
So
They will
any
respond.
civil servant, and they're disgruntled. So
Yeah,
what is your rationale, of DG Saw being behind this, and why you think Ibrahim Sankare? We have to have a genesis of this.
yes.
Why Ibrahim Sankare? What is in for him there to be part of this?
You see,
Phony.
that,
Go
that,
ahead, Ben.
that point is very important. Now, when you look at something, you said you have to look at, oh, what is the motive? What will be the motive for these people? What is in for them? Ibrahim, we are facing a national security crisis. We all know that the vice president, I know, I said, talked about it 2 weeks ago, that the vice president is absent. And not us, and this is not us making it up. They are the ones suspecting that it might be foul play. Yeah?
Mm.
And remember, it's the same week that the IJM came out and talking confidently as if he's gonna come back and take over government. The same week, I'm not saying that the IJM had anything to do with it,
Yeah.
but we should really open our, have a proper overview on this. Ibrahim Sankare relevance in government is linked to the vice president. The vice president is like an uncle, named after, being his teacher, named after a child. They see each other, they're like a kaburu. Ibrahim Sankare, DG Sow, the vice president, and it have a look like a Fulani fraternity. Yes, the vice president is Syrian, but culturally is Fulani. And this is what behind the scenes, this is what he's portraying in this fraternity. You see now, and interesting enough, in fact, Ibrahim Asila was part of that fraternity, but for one reason he have distanced himself, or they have distanced him. This is how it started. I mean, before it was all of them, and he have distanced them. Now, Ibrahim Sankare knows that because they work very hard to ensure that they capture the position of vice president away from Sidinjai. Because Sidinjai had a candidate that he wanted to be the vice president. Sidinjai and Sow technically, I mean, people count the first lady, but I'll tell you, the Sidinjai and Sow are controlling Barrow and the first lady. They technically appointed the cabinet. And when it comes to the vice president, it was kind of the lobbying, it was kind of a bit difficult. But Sankare and Sow group win over because of did some intelligence kind of move and convince Barrow to select, and they make it, they fix a metrics system that would favor Juf. That's how Juf became the vice president. Now, the vice president mysteriously now is ill. That's what they're claiming, that his mysterious. Before they were saying it's marabous, now they're thinking it might be physical. Now, you see the timing. Now, if this thing is going on, and there's information about some soldiers been just gone through, someone like Sankare, who's a conspirator, who's a conspirator, they might use it as a smoke screen. Now, not smoke screen to cover up whatever they want to do. They can use it as a leverage to get to Barrow to say, look, you see, we are loyal to you. We have detected people that want to take you out here. And these people are, look at the, you see, when we talk about the tribe component of the people arrested, they went and at a Koli and a Balde. They might.
But the rest are Mandinkas, yes.
Yes, you see that. But the minute, that time you have been agitated, they went and at a Koli and a Balde there. Yes. You see, everything is so funny. Now, they might do that to say to Barrow that we have your back. We are this thing. This is a game that have been happening, and to reassure Barrow. This is what the this thing is alluding to. He did not name Sankare, but he's naming Sow because of Sow being the intel guy. This is how they've been creating, making Barrow insecure, just as Senegal makes Barrow insecure with Casamas and the rebels, in order for them to stay. And people are talking about Economic. They're not talking about Senegal. I'll tell you, Economic will leave and Senegal will stay, because Senegal is going to justify it for the rebels. Barrow Gambians should have to think forward, not to wait and react. It should be foreign forces, not in your country, not economic. Foreign forces for that matter. Now, this is something that people should think about. Now, why the government mute about the disappearance of the vice president? Now, if anything happened to Barrow today, do you know who's going to be the president?
Fabakary Tombong.
Would that not be a disaster? Not only someone we not elected, we all know who is. Now, if Sidinjai can determine, again, the other time it was Sankare and Sow that determined the vice president. Now, if Sidinjai can determine who's going to be vice president.
Wow. That's tragic.
Would it, that another, you see, this is the sad case we have in the Gambia. And Ibrahim, that's why if I see educated Gambians not taking interest in our governance because of they can afford the demands, it's sad. If I see Gambian diasporans not taking our governance seriously, it's sad. Citizens for that matter.
And even politicians, because we can see the power of UDP when they come to back Sabali, because we know UDP threatened to demonstrate.
Yeah.
And in the wake of all the things that are happening in the country, a force that is behind UDP, if they are supposed to demonstrate, they put a huge pressure on the government and diaspora and everybody else because we don't want the so-called never again mantra so that things happen. People are begin a little bit scared. And when we come together as a force, even against Jammeh's power, we prevail. So this is why it is important, all of us, because to say I'm not part of politics or anything you painted with politics, you are just kidding. You are being selfish. You are being, very,
Yes.
very lazy to deny that. Because if that country goes into because only political decisions and
Whoever
economic
said it's
decisions.
not into politics is lying or is ignorant.
Exactly. Because
It's
any
lying
of
or
these
is ignorant.
decisions,
Because of
if it
that person
discredits.
would complain about, look, even if you die, politics will determine how, because your graveyard has been demarcated by politicians.
Yes, 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 yes. And
You
and,
see?
and, and even religion is all politics. When you read the political history of
Yeah,
religion,
it's
because
because of the
one of
governance,
my
the freedoms, the peace and stability of the country. That's why you can, have, worship or do whatever you do.
and
And
God
that's
forbid, Ben, if anything happen in the Gambia, your big mansion there, nobody is going to go into the hut. The
no.
rebels or funny people, where they are going to go is your mansions,
Answer.
your cars, your
Yeah,
beautiful women, and
yeah,
all those things. So politics encompass everything.
yeah.
That is why
And,
people who are
and
in state to educate
what
people, they're
and
not funny people. Go ahead, Ben.
And Ibrahim, what that say about us? That we now Gambians are sitting now saying that Fabakari, Sidinjais, and so and others are determined. This is a country that we fought to take away from Yaya Jammeh. Now the Yaya
Yeah,
Jammeh, minute people are the one running us. That's how much we fail as a country.
yes,
And do
definitely.
you, with this thing going on, do you expect that country to advance? Do you expect that country to
No,
develop?
no way, no way, no way,
You
no
see,
way.
this is why the problem, because the government is not, they don't have a program to get us out of what we are. They are taking, everybody's just doing their own thing. Now there's a
Yes, totally.
governance issue there, the succession plan, this thing, and nobody tends to this thing. There's no Gambian newspaper that have published this. Do you realize that? You think they
Never,
don't know?
never,
They know,
never.
but they will not touch it. You see, that's why I said this is the difference with what, that's why there's hope in Senegal. They have a vibrant opposition. They
Yes,
have the civil society. You see, their civil society just organized a demonstration for the COVID funds. You see, but what we have as civil society is to write funding to get funding. Whenever they're active is within around elections, when they can go for funding and buy T-shirts and stuff like that, and they take the money and make salaries, and that's all. But you don't see them in any serious matters. When
yeah.
what you have about our press, there are many PR companies. That's what they call the press. You see, this is the problem we have.
Ben, and it's good to have a tour de force. We have to regress to history a little bit.
Yeah,
It's the same Sangare who was, part of the December, the Njaganjai's coup
not
d'etat and
not
all
only
those things.
not only part. He made this. He was responsible for the failure of the December 30th and the death of all those people,
So
because
how, Ben? Go ahead. You have to
it's him.
shed light on that. Yes.
It's him, Sankara, Ibrahim Sankara. Let him challenge me. Ibrahim Sankara was in Senegal. Ibrahim Sankara was given a lot of money. He was with another former PPP politician who is still in politics. They were exiled in Senegal. He traveled to, they both were living in America. They traveled to Senegal. In Senegal, they traveled to Burkina Faso. They said they were going to get mercenaries. They're going to get weapons.
So
But
Topul Jammeh, yes.
the Topul Jame, this 30th, about this 30th December,
December,
which,
yes.
and he had a friendship with Nene McDolgay. You see, this Sankara was in Birmingham here. I know this guy very well. When he was in Birmingham here as an activist, he was lobbying through Amadou Samba for Jammeh to give him scholarship for a PhD program. That's why he did not complete it. He was very close to Amadou Samba in the diaspora when he was in the latter part of the struggle. And if you go to Gambia Echo, if the archives are still there, you can see some spin he have been doing for Amadou Samba then. But when he was in Dakar, that's how he told Nene McDolgay. Nene McDolgay knew about this coup because of Sankara. Now, this sank, Nana McDonald sat on it.
Okay.
Obviously, until the last minute, something else happened, which I am going to put in a book because there's a lot that happened in that country. It's going to come in a book. That thing happened, which made Nene Bagdolgay to fear that this is not going to be successful.
Mm.
This was the time Nene Bagdolgay reached out to a diplomat and said to the diplomat, "I want the IMS number. If you don't give me the IMS number, he might be deposed tonight."
Wow.
Obviously, you know that diplomat would not even hesitate because knowing that if he
No.
didn't do it and Nene McDonald get the number and tell Jammeh, that guy would be termed as a suspect because that diplomat who was a soldier before, he's an ex-soldier. Now, Nene McDonald reached to Jammeh. Jammeh started to shit himself. When Nene McDonald told Jammeh the presence of Gambian trained soldiers and everything, the support and the network, Jammeh
Yes.
shit himself. I'm not saying figurative.
Yes, I know.
I'm
Yes,
saying
you know.
it happened.
Yeah.
He defecated. I'm not
Oh,
making this
real?
up. That's what I'm
For
saying.
real?
No,
Wow.
I'm saying that there's a lot that need to come out. That fear that led Jammeh could not even stand to wait for it to happen. But again, because of Jammeh call up his people
Mhm.
and told them this is happening, and some of them were part of it. You see, that's why it failed because those people now didn't know where the leak came from.
Yes.
Now, what they did
Yes.
is to show their loyalty to Jammeh.
They counter these people. Yeah.
They counter these people.
Wow.
The same Sankara. The same Sankara. Now, you see, this kind of people you have in your around you, and so we all have so at the TRRC. The kind of person he is. He's a conspirator.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not a professional. What do you expect from people like this? And again, Gambians should look at this point again. Remember, Sankara started to bring out these messages.
Yeah.
And so suddenly we saw them produce the new National Security Advisor,
Yes. Jeng,
Abu
I'm going to
Sulayman,
come to that. Yes.
Abu
Yes.
Sulayman Jeng. Go and look at the archives. About 3 months ago, that's when he was going to be appointed. It was technically out there. That's why some people thought, first, some people thought was Suleiman Jeng. They thought it's Suleiman Jeng in Birmingham. You know,
Yeah,
and
I think I remember that. I thought
remember that.
it's Suleiman Jeng here. Yes.
Yeah, some people thought it's this Suleiman Jeng after it became clarified that day. Now, go and look at the press release given around the 1st. They said that he's appointed the 28th of November, something like that, and backdate. He's appointed on the 1st, backdated to the 28th of November, or something like that.
November, yeah.
Why? They needed someone, a new face, because they cannot convince someone so far, someone that have credibility, who was a victim of Jammeh, who from Jammeh, I mean, he was released, he went back to the services, he rose through the ranks, he went to the UN, he worked as an expert and came back. Yeah, but why did they not appoint him all the time until they need him? And they brought him out and gave him a statement to read. That's when they read that ridiculous operational plan. And you can tell that he was reading it. And during the process, he was struggling to try to avoid. You know what? If you're not prepared to this thing, and he have to read it and continue to say, "Oh, attempt." You see, and they refuse to take questions. And that, in a nutshell, was telling you that they are trying to win over. It's like they have a machine trying to manufacture a coup. Sankara, you see, the character of Sankara, character of Soul, and people around there, who else would you believe?
Nobody.
They are capable of, you see, if someone said something, think about, is that person capable of doing that? There's certain things, if someone called me to say something about Ibrahim, I'll dismiss it straight away. I said, Ibrahim is not capable of doing that.
Yes. Yes.
Or if someone said something about me, I might have done it, but the person it's not my character. It's not the character that people know until it's proven. But for Sankara, the character we know, it's not a surprise. That and if it come out true that they manufacture this, it's not a surprise. Someone knowing so, if it comes out they manufacture it, it's not a surprise. And Ibrahim, I'll tell you, this is not only this is not the only story of coup that have been reported to intelligence before during Barrow's time, but it have never gone far because they done their investigation right. They find out that it's just discounterment, and those people got slapped on the back of the hand.
On the hand,
But this one is just been blown out to serve a purpose, a smoke screen, or something else. But another theory here that people need to consider: what if Sankara even was fed this intelligence with all the so-called evidence? Someone. I mean, we have to look at every angle. Now,
all the
yeah. If it's the people that did that, if the people probably they suspected something, some people get to the vice president. If it is the people that got to the vice president, and those people are linked to Jammeh, that's why Jammeh was confident. I'm not saying it happened. Let me just start that. Now, I'm doing it for the benefit of viewers. And now those people is intelligence. Coup d'etat is about deception. Now they feed the government with a dummy intelligence so that they will be concentrating in investigating that and give them away distraction for them to have their main this thing. And now they might lure in a person in the position of vice president, or they might get to the president just the way they got to the vice president. If again, I did not accuse or I did not say that the vice president was dealt with. They are the one looking at this scenario. These are scenarios that the intelligence operative go on. But if you have people who are not professional, something reported to you, you started to look at certain people because you don't like them, because they are critics. No, you have to stand back, have an open mind, and look at the content of context of what this information comes to. How was it obtained? From what was it obtained? All these things have to be verified in order to build up. Okay, you have all that. It's not enough. Now test it. Now, if they accuse Ibrahima, is government knows everybody's number. Or if I want anybody's number in the Gambia, I can get it. Now, the government can get your number. The government can go and check your call data, isn't it? The government can see if you are linked to the other people on the list. If there's, if they cannot have that electronic, they might say, oh, probably they are using a different means of communication. Now, so far, how many people they arrested? 11 or 12. How much manpower does it take to put surveillance on 12 people? Not much.
Definitely nothing.
Then put these people on surveillance. These are people who have full-time jobs. It's easy to put them surveillance while they're at work. It's easy to put them surveillance when they are not at work. And within a week, you will be able to determine, do they have any contacts? Who else do they speak to? I mean, and that's how you go about it. You have to establish certain things first. Because it's not imminent. These people have no capacity to import weapons, have no capacity to access armories, have no capacity to mobilize troops. They are not battalion commanders. Battalion commander might come to the barracks and call everyone to fall in. And everyone fall in. A lance corporal cannot even call their section to fall in.
No.
You see?
Yeah, once again, greetings to our viewers all over the world. We are here again to analyze, the situations. We are looking at all areas so that we can have the greater understanding, as Gambians, because the implication of thinking, not noticing what is in the country is going to boomerang on all of us as a people, because we have our family. Even if we are outside, probably 90% of your investment is in the Gambia. On top of that, your family and anything that matters to you. So we have to make sure that country works. We have to make sure politics works in the Gambia, because politics is the only way even within our families, within our children, we use politics all the time. Everything else has to be determined. When you have politics wrong, everything else will be wrong. So, but politics cannot be right in ignorance. That is why our people need to come out and sacrifice. Anywhere you have progress, people are sacrificing their life, people are sacrificing their everything, to make sure that country works. If not for us, but the people that are coming, but the indignity of a country that is failed, and you are from that country, that should treat anybody anywhere in the world. So for that being the case, our people need to be active politically, because without it, we are just kidding ourselves. And sometimes you say politics, I'm not part of politics, but you discuss international politics, UK politics, American politics, or any politics but the Gambian politics. So this is a self-delusion, and we should not do that, because, as we always say, what can we do to give back to our country? If that means getting yourself one or two people to educate, to discuss issues that are affecting all of us, not to pretend that these things are not there. They are there, and they are not going to go away. No amount of reciting the Quran or the Bible or anything else is going to take these things away. In fact, the more we do those things, the more our hypocrisy, is established, and we are getting more backwarded as a country. Things are falling apart. We all know that, and there's no shortage of duas. There's no shortage of. So, but God gave us everything that we want in order to develop our country. So we need to use those tools. If that means getting into politics and understanding things and get your hands a little bit dirty, so that we can direct changes, because these things, they are very, very comfortable. When issues will come, we browse them and we forget about them and we sit in our corners. Nothing is going to go. Once again, Amadou Gay, he says, nothing but the truth. Suleiman Ben Suwareh, and Baro Toure Saho says, wow, Ben should be regular on Gunjur Online. He's a powerhouse of knowledge on Gambian politics. Ben, but it's also sad the vice president is lying there. They didn't officially, nobody
Almost
acknowledged
3 weeks.
it.
Almost 3 weeks
So
out
almost
away.
3 weeks now, and
Yeah,
it seems people are fighting behind, to kind of positioning themselves to in case what. Does that mean they didn't have any confidence that he will come alive from that? But we need to discuss this. And sometimes people will say,
No,
is this the vice
he
president
might come alive, but he might not be capable of
be,
serving,
be able to serve? Yes.
because I mean, you can only be absent in so long away from government. I mean, as a
Yeah.
vice president.
So then we can see the Kabudus also fighting here. We because this is the
Yeah,
fact.
you see,
We have the scene, the wall of Kabudu, the Mandinka
well,
Kabudu,
no,
if they are there
no,
now,
let me get to
then
that.
go ahead, go ahead.
That is actually what happened. When Barrow said Mbahal cabinet, and people are criticizing, he's right.
All right.
I mean, Mbahal was created for poor people,
Yes.
that you put those things that are affordable. I mean, a bit of kobobo, this thing, and put it together. I mean, if you said chebujen or this thing, that's of
That's a
rich,
high end one. Yes,
high
yes, yes.
but no, as I said, it was a patchwork of tribal alliances. And these people, and let me clarify this, they don't represent their tribes. They are
Yes.
opportunists that use their tribes. They have this group of Banjulians who signify the wall of block. You have the UDP guys that left UDP signify the
The
Mandinka block.
renegade one. Yes.
You
Yes.
have some Sarahule people and Batambedu and Tambedu family signify the Sarahule block, and Musa Drames. You have the Fula block, Ahmad Ba and others. And and you have the tokenists. You have the tokenist Jola there, the tokenist Aku, and stuff like that. And they call it inclusive. This is what they had. And they use that to say that, oh, we are inclusive. No, it was not a cohesive this thing. It was interest groups put together. Now, they used that and went out there to perceive that the main opposition party is a Mandinka entity. This is an old strategy. The
Yes.
Jawara government used it against Sirif Diba. Jawara government used it against Asan Musa Kamara. Jawara government used it against Pen Yai. Jawara government used communism against PDOIS. Fear that if they come, this is what they're going to do.
Yes.
Yeah, if Hassan Musa Kamara come, the Fullers will take over the country. They did that. They call him, when Hassan Musa say Jawara Jippo. They went out there to local people you see, it's an all politics, but it's a bad politics. Now,
Okay.
when they went through it, because, everybody say, I'm campaigning, I'm doing it. But Barrow knew that what made him win is the APRC mechanism that stole the elections for Jammeh, repeatedly stole the election with the IEC for them. He has to compensate them. This is the reason. This is the reason why the APRC are overcompensated. It's for their contribution in Barrow winning the elections. It's not for people voting for Barrow. People have not. It's the stealing of elections. Now, when this happened, obviously the APRC had the power. And that mechanism is the SISDG. He knows. And the same people control the security sector. Remember, the police, the way the police behave and everything, they are doing it, and they are guaranteed and doing it on the mode of operandus of the APRC, the PIU and others. You can see how loyal they are to the system because of the SISDG and the IG and everything. They are the technocrats of the APRC.
Yes.
Intact. Now, when they won the elections and compensation start to happen, the Wolof bloc, Banyan bloc have to be kicked out. They are not only kicked out for that, they are kicked out because Barrow find out that Mambure become richer than him in the deals they did. Bailami Job got richer than him in the OIC deals and other deals, port deals and others. And Fulmus Gomez thought that Barrow was going to lose the election because he didn't know about the election mechanism. He wanted to retire early, and Barrow said, no, wait, it's not going to be nice if you retire, you're going to go negative on us. Now, when Barrow won, he wanted to stay. Barrow said, no, I don't need you anymore. You see, and others. Those people left. Then, obviously, the positions, because of the UDP bloc, the Fabus and what's his name?
Ali Conte. Yes.
They try to assert themselves. But Barrow realized that you guys actually, all the areas that you guys meant to win for me, I cannot win it. UDP is intact. Yes. UDP base is intact. You guys are useless. Then obviously they're left. Now, the Sarahule camp kind of are now marginalized. Musa Drame been reduced. He nearly left listening. And the only people cashing in are the Sarahule businessmen. But the Sarahule hegemony within NPP has been marginalized. Now, it will look like the Fullers won the match. You see, I'm very disturbed saying this, but this is the fact.
That's the fact, Ben. We have to talk it. We have to discuss how it is.
You can look at it the other way. Yeah. You can look at it the other way and say that the APRC got the lion's share. But if you have to factor in Balde, but Balde, Astafulai, Sabali, the agriculture minister, because Sabali took part and he was very active in the divisive messaging going around to disarm Mama Kande. Yes. Because it was possible for him, he was executive member of Mama Kande's team, to go to the Fullers to say that if you vote for Mama Kande, you are voting for UDP, and UDP is a Mandinka party. When they come to government, you guys, we all had these characteristics. You guys will be deported. You guys will be this and that. We had it on their campaign trail. You see, he was rewarded for that. But the rest of the Sidin Jais and everything else is because of their statecraft of stealing elections. That's what they did. It's not because of they went and got the APRC to vote for Barrow. Is a lie. It's the same 300,000 votes that Jammeh was calling his jins, the same jins that they this thing. The only difference, Gambians have to work this out. Two differences for them. Jammeh mechanism was based on the Al Jamaat, and greater part of participation was in the Casamance South, where the Jolas are dominant. For these people, their greater, strength was with Ahmad Ba from the Salum Wolof communities to the northern part of Senegal, to the northern part of Casamance, where Fulas and Mandinkas and others foreigners they can get from. That's what they had. The Suku Singates and everything. We saw them transporting these people. Before the elections, didn't I come and expose all this is taken up? But people ignored it. This is how they did it. And secondly, another thing people have to check is, Jammeh, in order to have control over it, he used to collect all the voter cards and store them at the APRC Bureau. And that's why the APRC Bureau was born, asset. And the cards went, and the data and everything. Okay, now these people cannot control, control to have everybody voter cards. Now, these people they recruited, they kept their voter cards. Because of the mobilization done during the president elections, they needed to win. The money spent, the networks and everything, they could not re-establish that during the parliamentary. Because the parliament is different. And you can see the result, reflection of the results. You can see it. This is the difference. And I can tell you, you can look at many circumstances evidence. And if you poach, that's why the IEC don't want people to see this thing register, master register.
DJ Jao, DJ Jao, yeah.
Research on Gambian names. They will not want him to see it. What do they have to hide? It's a public records. They should be able to access it. Should be even online. But no, they know what they did. And we have seen the evidence that people were registered outside of registration days or time. Who are those people? We have seen evidence of voting booths placed where people don't know. There's an evidence of this. And this is why the government is in disarray. Now, the people that in control are, yes, that's why, again, you see their Congress. Did the two former UDP not come and challenge? And Barrow don't want them there. But who are the replacing people? Are they not Fullers?
Yeah.
You see, it's not made up. The evidence is there. And Barrow don't want these two former UDP. You can look at it to say former UDP. But you can look at it to say they're Mandinkas. Because that's the game they play. That's why if you divide a nation to control them, you're not able to govern them. You are not able to govern them. This is why I keep on telling Gambians, let us stop this thing. If it's not Barrow, it's UDP. That's a false narrative. Senegal used to have that. Or is Abdou Diouf, if not Abdou Diouf, is Ablaye Wade. Ablaye Wade came. Or is Ablaye Wade, it's not Ablaye Wade. They didn't know. Macky Sall came and took it. Or is Macky Sall, if not Macky Sall, they didn't know. Sonko now is the permanent opposition. Sonko is the permanent opposition. What does that tell you is you have to work with policies in order to convince people and win them over. Sonko did not use money. Sonko did not use tribe. He's from a minority tribe. He did not use money. He doesn't have the money. But his message resonates with the people, the youths. His message resonates, and he built a movement. I want Gambians to understand that. If you are in an opposition, you cannot win an establishment without able to stop the fraudulent means of that establishment in Africa. Every establishment in Africa will be completely corrupt. It is impossible to win them until you can counter the fraudulent elections. There's no free and fair elections in Africa. They will monopolize the media. Now you can overcome that through social media. They will use money. You can do that, counter it from crowdfunding. That's what Sonko is doing. You see that? And gradually, you have the militants, a movement that is ready to sacrifice, ready to fight, and the government know that they are ready to be confronted, and they will give you the chance in order for you have to have a chance to win. If not, you want to go the normal route of elections, you go till ever. They'll make sure that they will devise a way for them to win. They will make sure they will suppress you. They will arrest your people. They will do this. That's what Macky Sall is trying. But because of the PASTEF is not a party, PASTEF is a movement. And if you even have a political party in order to challenge, you see, it's not the casted votes, it's the perception of winning as well. It's very important. That's why you need a movement where people will be across board. Not that people color your party colors are the ones going to be win for you. These are people that would decide the elections at the time of the ballot. Some will be doing it 2 months before the ballot. Some people might decide a month before the ballot, but others will decide at the ballot itself. They will come and look at the two ballot box and then drop it for you because of you are representing a diverse movement. That's why I said I am disappointed. None of the opposition parties had a proper Congress. They are all fixed. And this is why our democracy is not progressing. And this is why someone like me are not in political structures, because I will not allow that.
Yes, our democracy is not progressing, and it is a very, very disservice to the nation to see the kind of congresses that the opposition people have, and the suppression of talents. People are feared. There's too much fear in the Gambia in many institutions. Then we have the Barrow's takeover bid also for BCC, KMC, like what you are saying, because if he is confident that he had a landslide, now he want to control the mayors, and the Banjul, the KMC, with administrators. I'm happy that the court rule out. But just to buttress your point, if they are confident that they can win that election, that they have candidate that can beat these people, because the next
They cannot
probably
even
mayor
decide on a
will be their
candidate.
mayor.
Do you know that?
Exactly, they cannot even decide on the candidate. So the KMC, the BCC, he wanted to. If the court didn't stop him, we will have administrators that are there, kind of managing the Talib and Bajun mayoress, Roy. So that's just about ratio,
Yeah.
the
And,
fear
and, and,
that
and
they
let me come to that.
go ahead.
You have raised a very
Yeah.
important point. Remember, I said earlier that the government have completely lost legitimacy, because not only about, even if we put the elections away, they have lost legitimacy because they have not delivered. You see, legitimacy is not based on winning elections. It's about delivery. It's a social contract. Ibrahim, government do change without elections. You have seen it in the United Kingdom. We had 3 prime ministers because there is a social contract here. If people really come out and demand, the government doesn't have anything but to resign, and the constitution will go on. The opposition is not going to be the government. The government will continue. The vice president would sit in for 3 months. That's why it's drawn that way. Then elections will come in to decide, because it's a vote of no confidence. Parliament can impeach the government. Vote of no confidence. That's a contract. If these things are not happening, that's where you have social unrest. Now, if this government they have lost legitimacy. Now, what would they have is to suppress the people. And this is what Barrow is saying. And remember, and again, let me give Gambians the history of this. You know that those laws that Yaya Jammeh had, those laws did not come on in the 1987 constitution. No. Sorry, 1997 constitution. No. It was added on. You know, that's the former independent mayor called Pasala Jeng. Pasala Jeng, Yaya went to port him, and they went through the courts. Pasala won the case. Now, that forced Yaya to go for local government amendment acts. This was the amendment. Now, they went through the amendments, and it's in the statutory books. This is, again, that's why I said this is my problem with opposition. Why opposition never challenged these laws before? There are many laws they could have challenged. What did they challenge? The laws are not democratic. You see, you need to take these things to constitutional courts to interpret it. Because there was a democratic reasons where there's a separation of powers. The local government development of powers. Now this is the challenge that and you see, again, if Talib was not a threat, this thing would not have been challenged.
No,
the challenge is
no.
directed to Talib, and Talib challenging. You see, because Talib had the means because of his legal backgrounds. That's why it's important to note that we need to challenge laws, bad laws. Now, this taken out because it's not constitution. Barrow did not have confidence of winning these elections. Now, obviously, it's going to be difficult to steal the elections again because now, UDP, the main political parties, are aware of how it was done, and they will do things. And not only that, too, the people that took part in the elections, that the illegal voters, don't want to be caught. Some of them now have the required documents to live in the Gambia without paying their residence, but they are having problem with that as well. Immigrations are challenging these people, saying that I have seen that case, and I know the immigration officer was right. The guy, I can tell he was not even in the Gambia for more than 5 years. But by other means, but the guy have a Gambian document. He have his voter cards, he have his ID cards, and ever. You cannot charge him, make him to pay for residence. You see, these people don't want to be attract attention. Now, if UDP is vigilant or the candidates are vigilant with their people, Barrow have a problem again. He was going to lose all these things. But again, that's why this is important again. If they can fabricate a coup, I'm saying if they can fabricate a coup and get away with it, you think they will stop with that? They'll fabricate other things and go for other people.
Yeah,
we have seen the
that's very true. Yeah, Ben, we don't have much time now.
Yeah.
We went about nearly 1 hour 40 minutes. But the PAN Pap Ali Nyang's case, we need to discuss that, because this is somebody who has been fighting the truth, and is a journalist that has been encroached and illegally being detained, and he's maltreated there, homes, hunger strike and all those things. But still, what is his issue, Ben? Why is he arrested? Let's just quickly dealt with that and go to Solos, and then we can close.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim, for bringing that topic. And again, when I do my analysis all the time, I do comparisons with different countries, but I always narrow it down to Senegal because we have more in similar than political, socially, and everything than any other country. And what happens in Senegal will affect us, just as what happens in Gambia will affect Senegal. That's why I believe in this Senegambia construct. I want it to be done right. A fair play of where we eventually, if it's not in our lifetime, might be the next generation. But that's the natural decision. And okay, bringing out Pap Ali. Pap Ali is a friend of mine. I went to visit him. Spoke to the lawyers. Everything was arranged, but he went on hunger strike. It was not possible. And it's a sad situation. We all know Pap Ali did not only fight within Senegal. Pap Ali, we know that he was prominent in Gambian discourse. The same way Pap Ali is prominent in Guinea-Conakry discourse, Ivorian discourse. And in Senegal, he's known to be very independent. Yes, and he is anti-establishment. If Papa Ali wanted, he would have been in the Wada's government. If Papa Ali wanted, he would have been in the Maki's government. There's no journalist that did more for Maki than Papa Ali. But he did not go. He did not take an appointment. He did not take a job. That says something about him. The TV stations he went to and he was censored. What did he do? He went and have his own platform. That tells you the person they deal with. And he's effective in what he does. Because of that independent hat he wears. He's respected. And he was effective in dismantling the government propaganda, which is important and necessary. And this is my point again. That's why Senegal have hope. But you see, Gambians have to understand this. If Macky Sall can turn up to be a dictator, what do you expect from someone like Barrow?
Barrow, yeah.
Macky Sall, why? The route Macky Sall took to become a president. He was an establishment. He became a part of an anti-establishment. He right on the back of Yana Mar, civil society. He back on the backs of the opposition. And because of his technocratic background and whatever, he was given the votes and he succeeded. Not only succeeded in winning the first round against the other opposition, but the other opposition could have gone and ally with WADA and WADA stayed. But no, they did not do that because of they were against the third time that WADA went. They were against what WADA was doing to coronate his brother, son. Now, if this person have gone all through all this, and that person decided to go after the people that even fought for him, Pap Alinya and others. Not only that, Senegal have an intelligence here. This means sophisticated people that think progressively on others. I can go into history and give you contemporary history of Senegal on their sophistication if it comes to politics. But to keep it short, what did he do? He went and diluted that. Now you have the likes of just as what Barrow have. Non-entities, people Rasulas, people who used to do safara, safara, I don't know what they call them, spiritual water and all those juju things.
Yes.
These are the kind of these are the advisors. Because they go for marabouts for him. And putting people in parliament who are known for insulting online. Someone called Kuramaki and others. These are the kind of people. And the discredited politicians he took on because of what he wants. The corruption and everything else. But not only that. The worst is Senegal was known for their professionalism in their institutions. He went for the civil service and dismantling the civil service. He went for the police. He went for the gendarme. He went for the army. To the extent of a gendarme intelligence, a military intelligence getting lost in Senegal. One of them found with this, torsos all over the place. The other still disappeared, just as what the junglers used to do. Now there are private militias sponsored by the government that goes around to intimidate, to arrest, things like that. Imagine that's happening in Senegal now. We all have seen now the proof that the scam they do to lock up Sonko, and how far this government is ready to go. 15 people dead, and they're still pressing on just to disqualify Sonko for Macky Sall to have his third term. If that can happen, if Macky Sall can go after Pap Ali, a friend, they were friends for that matter, someone who fought for you, who gave you platform for you to become a president. You become a dictator. Now that person on the hunger strike, even if Pap Ali have committed a crime, the president have this mercy that he could have used and pardon him. But not only that, he went to port Pap Ali. He doesn't care that Pap Ali is a father. He doesn't care that Pap Ali is a husband, is someone's son, is someone's brother, is someone's uncle. Look, if people can go to that length to kill their citizens, you use the power vested on you. Macky Sall could not have done that as a private citizen. He could only do that because of his president, his executive power, and abuse that power. Now, Gambia can learn from that. Where we have a dictatorship system, we don't have reforms of civil service, we don't have reforms of security sector, our politics is the same, and we have the mindset of dictators around us. Just as my brother said, the dictators is us. Now you want to tolerate that person. You don't want to hold him accountable. You expect that person not to become a dictator. The freedoms we have now is the freedom we fought for. If we are not vigilant to stand up to fight for those freedoms, I'll tell you, we'll have a dictatorship because of the president and his government have lost legitimacy. They cannot deliver what they have promised, and they have stolen an elections. Now, this is the problem this government is facing. They are unpopular. Opinion rating is this thing, and they were fearful. This government, what they're fearful of, just call up a nationwide strike. They're fearful because they know that any fault line can bring out different people. You see, their operational plan when 11 November said, those groups said they're going to do 11 November. They said it. They said that because of the amount of backway people, amount of discount, they know. Any small thing can mount to something else. But you cannot police that.
Yes,
you need
we got to get the 2 hours mark now, and I'm just going to Solo Sundance. We have his funeral and burial finally. That's coming on the 10th of January, and finally, Ben, even though the state, probably they are forced to get part of this, but they ignore, anything about Solo's legacy wasn't embraced by the Barrow government. They just kind of, put him at the corner. Then talk about him more over his legacy, the security sector reform, the electoral reforms. We can go and go on and on. But finally, our brother is going to give the befitting, I think, final rest, and we should all celebrate that, Ben. Just if you can,
Yeah.
just say something on the part of this.
Solo sending would be put to, I mean, rest, and we continue to pray that he continue to rest in peace, to rest in Jannah. And as you have said, it starts with solo comrades and the victims. If this government or Gambian people, for that matter, want Solo and people like Solo to be remembered, to be appreciated, we and appreciating people like Solo and the victims is to make sure that they never again becomes reality. That will make sure people are ready to sacrifice. If we get to that point that people need to sacrifice, if a government, if society does not honor their heroes, then that society would not nurture heroes. What it does is just make other people to preserve themselves because they say that this society is not worth fighting for. It starts from there. What have this government done for Solo's family, Solo's the victims and Solo's compatriots and the victims and everything else? Nothing, absolutely. Amount of money that came for victims and everything, nothing, absolutely. The proceeds from Yaya's assets, nothing, absolutely. That 15 million given, look, where's the 15 million from Senegal? But that's one part of it. As you said, the other part is what Solo and people like Solo were fighting for. That if the government want to honor, but the same government refuse deliberately. If the NIA 9 were not arrested at that time and put through the courts, they would not have been arrested. They would have been free because the junglers are free. They're walking around. Edward Singate is free, walking around. She says, "This is, I mean, if Yankuba Toure did not refuse to testify at the TRRC, Yankuba Toure will be free. Kanye is free. Junglers are free. Other people are free, walking around. What have been done? Even the recommendation, the Golden Book and others are, Jesus and others are serving. The recommendations from the white paper. Martin and others are still paid. They are on leave. The same government that went to all the way, not only to deny us, the electoral reforms that Solo went out there for, they deny us a new constitution. We all know that the government did. What else? The Jani Commission proceeds to support victims of Gambia. The TRRC reports. Whatever they do is hypocrisy. But again, it's unto us. If we want if you want your government to do something, you hold them accountable for them to do it. The only reason they are inactive because we don't have an active opposition, we don't have active civil service, and the Gambian intelligentsia, what should be intelligentsia, informed influential Gambians, are selfish and opportunistic. They leave the fight to order. And they can run to rectify your grammar, they can run to rectify your essays, but they cannot go out there and do what you do.
That's why we are where we are. We don't have an active population. We don't have an active civil society, active institutions that are going to forget about their petty differences.
And the people that sacrifice are not recognized, are not honored. Exactly. And this is the sad part of this thing.
We have but the victims.
For Solo's legacy to live on, these things have to be done for Solo's legacy to live on. It's not about a monument. It's not about going for a day to bury him and make these things. It's about our prayers. It's about our showing our genuine remorse. Our genuine empathy, and make sure that what he started for the legacies and all the victims are recognized. That's
Yeah,
how
victims
countries.
are not recognized. Killers are walking free. Innocent people and heroes. We are not celebrating them. The buffoons, we are celebrating them. The comedians of without talent, we are celebrating them. And heroes, the victims are lying all over the place with their injuries, with their scars. Some of them died, without any recognition. And Solo should be recognized not only to celebrate, his funerals and burial, but to give a very befitting monument where and the legislations that he stands for, so that we can celebrate the heroes and inculcate those sacrifices that you are going to be rewarded when you sacrifice for the nation. But so far that's not happening. Then, I remember the Baitullah Junior. We don't have time to discuss his
Yeah,
case. If the jugglers are walking free, but the young man who only speaks in audios, even though as he said,
and and
he's a young
and
adventurer.
again,
Yeah,
the Baitullah case again tells us one thing. Modus
yeah,
Sabali have people to fight for him. If Modus
yeah.
Sabali did not have those people to fight for him, Modus Sabali would still be in Maltu. Baitullah, what
Mm,
did Baitullah do? Baitullah, you think Baitullah Junior, sorry, you think if Baitullah Junior was smart, he would want to be Baitullah? He would aspire to be
No,
a
no, no,
Baitullah?
no, no, no,
No,
definitely not. No,
no.
no,
If you
definitely.
think if Baitullah statements where what he meant he could have done, you think people would not come out and fight for him? He doesn't even
No,
have.
no.
You don't even see a social media campaign for him.
No, 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 nobody.
Doesn't
And
have
but
influence on
then
anything.
next time we will give context to this, just because we don't have much time. But definitely, what is happening to this young man is wrong, and he is charged in treason, and he is there. But this is what we've been telling the APRC. If you have the power and all those things, once you are out of power, nobody comes to support you. The young
Yeah,
man is there. Just because of his audio releases, he's been detained, he's charged for treason, and he's there. Nobody is talking about him now. And he was detained before Sabali, and Sabali
I
come
mean
and
it's
have the
about
hour,
3 months.
and
It's
he was
getting to
released.
3 months now.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Once again, but Ben, thank you so much. We're
Thank you
going
very
to
much,
end the
man.
program here. We still have myriad of things to discuss, but definitely time don't
We'll come
allow
back to
us,
it.
and we will come back another day so that we can discuss. Once again, thank you to our viewers and our listeners and who are going to watch this program, share it and discuss it. Let's organize a Bantaba, a marketplace of ideas where we can discuss issues. They might be critical, they might be very uncomfortable for other people, but let's talk, let's discuss issues because the country we came from, that is the country gave us a lot, and we cannot sit here, give up on that country and not only talking about it and divorcing ourselves from the main issues, the critical bits, just to go and ambience. At some point, when you ambience in the Gambia, you will be that you will be stolen. Some people can easily kill you for your mobile because people are hungry, and that is the failure that we are used to as a country currently. So that's why it's so important, all of us, to come together, aggregate, and think, come out with our ideas and sacrifice sometimes so that we can have sanity in that country. Greetings to all of you. Thank you all for your patience, and greetings to Video Online's management and our boss Lamin Jame and all the other people who helped us to be here. Ben, thank you so much once again, and greetings, and have happy New Year to all of you. Thank you until we'll have Alaji Madike, Alaji Barrow on Wednesday to discuss of the book, Dictator is Ours. We will have him there, and all of us are invited on 7 o'clock on Wednesday. All right, have a good night. Thank you.